Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 2, Mansfield Town 0 in the Carabao Cup second round at Hill Dickinson Stadium. And James, 2 home games, 2-0 wins.
It's both assists done by the same person.
I like it, James.
Nice.
Oh, some knowledge up there. I like
some
it.
nice creativity.
Good. It's good to see. It's good to see. Obviously, Everton were going into this one heavy favourites, as you'd expect. Mansfield brought nearly 6,000 fans. They did take, I believe they took 9,000, but didn't sell them all. And that's why there was some gaps. But they were brilliantly supported. You know, only 6,000 coming for a midweek game.
I know, it's
fantastic for a League One side, and they were noisy, so fair play to them. They played their part, absolutely. They did. A couple of decent songs as well, a couple of EFL ones as well, but fair play, you get that. Yeah, you get that. But a game that Everton expected to win, and therefore the manager made changes. He'd gone on record saying he would have liked to have made more. And then he had a little moan about not having loads of defensive options. Do love Moisey when he throws that in. But he did reference teams making 9 or 10 changes and we weren't able to. But he did make some changes. Mark Travers came in goal. We had Michalenko back, which was a real positive, wasn't it? Seamus Coleman, club captain, came in and played at a right back and had a really good game. He did. The midfield, I think he went with what everyone thought he'd go with, which is James Garner back in there, Alcaraz, Harrison, Armstrong. We had Jack Grealish, which might have been a bit of a surprise, but I think he's trying to get his fitness up on one side. Dwight McNeil on the other, and then we had Tieno Barry through the middle. So out of that 11, was there anyone you were surprised didn't start the game out of the team that he picked, or was there any surprises who did start the game for you?
I think I was surprised that he stuck with Michael Keane and James Tarkowski originally, because they sort of been like they're the first choice to centre half pair, aren't they? And I thought this would be a good game to give Jacob Brien a go in his proper position. Because, with Moyes, he's barely played there. Because he's been forced to play out wide. So I was surprised with that. Michalenko, I thought it was right that he comes right back in, because as good as James Garner has done, he's not a left back ultimately. And I think having someone like Michalenko, and then hopefully in the future we'll have Asney as well, so to swapping them two would be ideal. Coleman, I was surprised he started. I know we spoke on one of the lives saying, he was looking a bit rough warming up against Brighton, but he came in, I thought he had a great game. I thought he didn't look of age, and thought he even towards right at the end he had that nice final sprint to clear the ball, and I was surprised he started, and I was surprised he lasted the full 90 as well. James Garner obviously going back to the midfield, I was happy that he dropped Idrissa Gana-Gueye, purely for the fact of you want to limit his minutes now that he is getting on a bit, and with how important he is to Everton, I don't think it was worth any risk of overplaying or whatever.
Sure, he'll appreciate you say he's getting on a bit, but carry on.
He is getting on a bit.
Carry on, James.
Harrison Armstrong, me and Pedro saying how we wanted him to start because we want to see if he gets a proper goal. We spoke about it as well. It's a big point in his career right now at Everton, and it's like whether he's going to stay and be a part of the team or whether he's going to go out on loan and get that experience. And I thought he came in, he's done really well actually, and he's definitely put his name in Moyes' mind that he can't be valued in this squad. But it's just, now it's the big decision really, isn't it? And we spoke about quite a bit of, does he stay or does he go? Because on one hand, you've got a good play, you got 2 assists, he had a decent game, but then also look at how many midfielders is he going to be competing with to play for Everton week in, week out, and with how young he is, would this time not be better used if he went somewhere else? So it's a bit of a tough one with that, but I think he's shown why people rate him so highly tonight with some nice passes and controlling the ball and stuff. With the rest of the team, Carlos Alcaraz thought he had a really good game. I think throughout pre-season, and at Leeds he got forced out on the right, didn't he? Which I don't think is his strongest position.
No,
I think
because he drifts in. He drifts into midfield.
In that number 10 position, I thought he'd done well. I thought defensively he was tracking down people well, but then also his passing and his dribbling was all really nice. So can't really complain about that. And I think he's shown as well why he should be being played in the 10 rather than out wide, and why maybe there is more of a reason to go and sign a backup right winger for that reason, because he's going to be there. And then Jack Grealish, I didn't think he'd start, to be honest, because Moyes' comments in the week were saying, he hasn't played 2 games for ages, and so I thought probably rest him. Maybe he comes on as a sub and then we see him against Wolves again. But thought he had another great game. I think he shows that maybe on the ball he's almost like a level above him why he was at City with how quick his like passing is, and even like passes where they're just simple passes to the speed he's doing it at that sort of opens teams up, and you know they were doubling up on him and leaving stuff on him every time, and I think he handled it all quite well, and he had a good game. And then lastly, Dwight McNeil, sorry, I was disappointed with Dwight McNeil. I thought just looked a bit uninterested, and there was moments where he had it on his left foot and you know he could have went for the shot and he didn't, and it's weird because that's sort of his thing, isn't it? It's
to crack them in from 25 yards is very much his thing.
When he gets on the left and he cut, that was his thing, and I was just disappointed. He just didn't seem up for it, and I don't know what's going to happen with him, but yeah, it was just interesting. And then Tieno Barry, who I thought people have been harsh about him saying, you know, we've been scammed or whatever, and I just don't get it, but I thought he had a few nice moments, you know, where he was receiving the ball and he was playing nice quick passes out and sort of getting the rest of the team involved. I think obviously he's young and he's coming into a new league, so there's places he can improve on, like his control and sort of how he is when he's in front of the goal. I feel like sometimes he feels a bit panicky, but obviously as he plays more, he'll get more and more confident. But I thought he had a decent game, and you know, he's just sort of getting used to, you know, new football and new life and everything. So in all, I was happy with the starting lineup. I think the only real person you look at and think could have improved was Dwight McNeil, but everyone else, I thought James Garner came right into the midfield and had a great game and shown, you know, why he can be relied on there. So yeah, solid team. I thought I was happy with it.
John Blaine answered that, went on for about 3 hours, but fair play to you, because it was all very, as John is, very informative. I thought Everton started very much on the front foot, as you'd expect, knocking the ball around. My only criticism was just we slowed the game down too much for my liking. There was some really nice interchange. You're right, people keeping hold of the ball, using it. Well, Jack Grealish drawing people in and popping it off, and we've got Alcaraz doing really well, but it wasn't till sort of like the 11th, 12th minute we got our first shot away, and it was Charlie Alcaraz, and the keeper's made a brilliant save. You know, he's got it, shifted it past the lad and hit it, low shot, and it's almost looked behind him when he touches it. It's a weird, just gets a hand, a fingertip to it and pushes it down the post. Really good save. And there was just too many times for me where we'd work the space, and again, we have discussed this as well earlier in the day, and it is when you're playing against a team who come in a low block and sit there, they will frustrate. There isn't big pockets of space for you to exploit, so you'd have to move the ball. But I just felt sometimes we could have moved it that little bit quicker, which would have opened them up a little bit. That being said, it is still relatively sort of a new team playing in a new way, and this team, there was changes from the team that had played on Sunday, so you have sort of got to get used to that, and they have sort of got to get used to, you can give the ball to Jack Grealish and he can keep it, you know, and then can we get people making runs off him? And when it was Alcaraz making a run off him, that's when we looked as though we were going to get some joy.
Absolutely. I think as well, I think how he linked up with Michalenko was decent, and how them two were sort of interplaying each other, and that, you know, Michalenko's main criticism has been sort of his attack and play and how he doesn't really cross the ball in, but I think his crossing for the most part in that game was really good, and he was finding plays in the box. I think he was making nice runs and Grealish was feeding him in, but he was also playing off him well. So I think it's just stuff like that, just them all getting used to each other again, and you know, moving the ball quicker. And I think, as you said, when they're sitting with a low block, obviously it's hard to get behind them, which is probably what Everton more wanted to do. But I think just as if Ndiaye and someone like that was playing right from the start, I think we would have seen more quicker play going around and like dribbling and stuff. But yeah, in all, I think it was good. I think just as we keep progressing and they start learning how they play a bit more, we'll get way better.
So, like in the first half, we did have some good moments, didn't we? I've just mentioned the Carlos Alcaraz shot, and the keeper's made a really good save. We had a lovely little move that got Alcaraz in behind, and he should have cut the ball across to Tieno Barry. They were both in the box with the ball, and he laid it back to the edge of the box. I think it went to James Garner or towards James Garner, and the lad just got a nick in, and the chance had gone. Whereas if he'd have rolled it square, I think Barry would have had a tap in, you know, or he certainly would have had a shot at goal. There was those moments. We had great bit of play by Jack Grealish and fed Harrison Armstrong, who did sort of make a third man run.
And
I'm expecting him. He could have squared it. He could have squared it, as we saw later on in the game, and Barry would have tapped it in. But I just wanted him to put his foot through it.
Yeah.
And just really hammer it at the goal. He didn't. He just hit it low, and it was a comfortable save. We've had Dwight McNeil should probably have scored after a lovely move. Really good football. Got cut back to him, and he put it over. Yeah. And Jack Grealish had done the same after a really good move down the right hand with Seamus getting in behind him. And, well, did it bobble for McNeil?
Jack Grealish is just seeing with a different.
It just went. Okay. Oh. But both of them, really. I mean, Dwight. I'll be honest. When he got cut back to Dwight McNeil, I thought he lit the target at least because it was on his left foot. He's got a good left foot. I thought he'll hit through this, and he didn't. He got under it and put it back. But we did show those moments, didn't we? That when we did step it up and played a little bit quicker, we looked like we were gonna put them in trouble, but we never sort of were able to quite do it. We almost had Tierney Barry in about 3 times with a lovely little ball in, and he made good runs, and Alcaraz had made a good run and just lost control of it at the last minute. But obviously you go in half time 0-0, you're thinking we've got to step this up a bit, you know, because even though we were in total control
towards the end of the first half.
I was going to say, Mansfield finished the first half really well. They played some really nice football, Nigel Clough. His teams have always done that. They've always played good football. And they did play some nice football at times. They just didn't have sort of a final ball. But they did have, as we've said on other shows, a centre-back wearing number 9. So
centre-back / striker / right-back, isn't he?
Apparently so, being informed reliably from a Mansfield fan that he's all of those things, so fair play. I'm not getting behind the number 9 being a centre-back, but there you go. I think David Moyes might have had a few words at half-time to sort of quicken it up and add a little bit more intensity, because Everton did come out for the second half with a bit more intensity, with a little bit more fizz about them. Looked like they meant business. Second half.
I think you could sort of tell instantly that there was a bit more about Everton. And I think Nigel Clough said after that it was just important that they survived that first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, and obviously they didn't, and then the game sort of turned around and Everton just, it was comfortable then and they dominated most of the possession. They had a little moment maybe towards the end, but it was pretty comfortable from there on, and everyone was starting to link up a lot better.
And the goal, Everton's first goal, was a great goal, and Harrison Armstrong pops up on the right hand side, makes a good run and gets it, and plays it to Coleman, and then Coleman comes into Tierney Barry, lovely little first time round the corner to Armstrong. We all thought he was going to shoot there. It got under his feet a bit, but he showed really good footwork, lays it back, and Carlos Alcaraz just bends a tremendous strike, really 20-25 yards past the keeper at the south stand. Then goes and drops the shoe. You know, a little shoey. Christopher Ronaldo. That's what he was like, wasn't he? Suey.
I thought when Armstrong got it, I just wanted him to shoot, but then I'll be honest, I thought he was doing too much with it. You know, when he dribbled it and he like overdone it. But then he laid off that pass and it was a lovely hit and it just curled perfectly round it. And the angle from right behind it just shows how much it moves.
It doesn't half move,
But it was a great goal, and Harrison Armstrong done really well in the end. It
was brilliant. So great for Alcaraz to get a goal, of course, as well as
absolutely
first one at home, isn't it? If you include last season as well, obviously scored at Newcastle and scored at Palace, didn't he? But didn't have one in front of the home fans, and he's absolutely delighted with a brilliant goal. And then you hoped Everton would step it up and put the foot on the gas and kill the game off, you know, the thing. It took Jack Grealish off just after it, and Tierney Barry looked not too happy to be going off. I think he's just desperate for a goal. He'd played some really intelligent, you know, balls around the corner, got us away a few times, lovely link-up play. Then in the next breath, his touch isn't tight enough and it's taken off him. Got to get himself, make them runs, get yourself between the posts, make sure you're always the pass. Even if it doesn't come, make sure you're making them runs. But he will develop. He's shown, you know, he's a good player. We'll probably have to be a little bit of patience with him. I know some people don't want to give him patience, but there's got to be a bit of patience with him. But even if Beto came on, I thought Beto done all right when he come on. And we did try to kill the game off from there. Beto should have scored. You know, a bit of a mix-up, and it comes back to him, played into him, and he should go on with it really, and he doesn't. He just side-foots it, but straight at the keeper.
That was disappointing.
There was a bit of space ahead there to maybe try and whip it in. And we had moments where crosses come in and they were taken away from people at the back post.
Almost got it, yeah.
Tyler Dibbling came on for his debut.
Yeah.
Showed some nice touches at times. I know a few people, and I'll be honest, I was I've seen him play, I know he's a good player. I wanted a little bit more from him.
Yeah.
I think he was a little bit safe, but that's totally understandable. He's a 19-year-old lad. He's just being signed for a big fee. He's just moved up from Southampton and he's had 1 day's training with the team. Yeah. So you can understand him always playing safe. Right now, when you see him in full flight for Southampton, he's dropping both ways, cutting inside, having shots going on the outside, doing the chop, sitting people down, you know. But you've seen 3 or 4 times last night him receive the ball in really tight areas and just spin around and leave people for dead.
There was one where he sort of just shifted his body and the fella went down.
The fella went over, but I wanted him to drive at them and have shot, you know, get a shot away and stuff. But he's going to ultimately be a good footballer for Everton. It's good to have them options. We couldn't really get it killed off, could we? And the manager quite rightly decided to put Illiman and Jai on as well to sort of step it up a little bit and you know, run at them, and he did. He come on and he got lively straight away, and Jai, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got in it, got himself, you know, picking the ball up, dribbling, going past people. Really should have scored. Harrison Armstrong, lovely ball through, great first touch. I know he gets shoved at the end, but he hesitates, whereas we've seen him in the past just keep going and get the shot away. He sort of slows it down, and when the lad comes, he sort of hesitates, and the lad puts a little bit of pressure on him and he screws the shot into the side netting. At that moment, was there ever a time in the game where you were a little bit nervous? Because Mark Travers was in for Pickford and he didn't really have anything to do bar catch a couple of crosses.
No, I don't think I wasn't it, which was a nice feeling to not be nervous. But there was that bit at the end of the first half, wasn't there? And that was where they had a bit of momentum. But like, even then, everything just felt sort of comfortable. I thought Tarkowski, you know, he handled defending well, won everything in the air. And I think even when, you know, he was being a bit physical with the defenders, you could see him laughing and he was enjoying like sort of the challenge of it. Same with Michael Keane. I think Michael Keane's been solid since he came in, really, as much as people, you know, moan about him. I think he's been good to him.
Yeah, he was fine.
And then even Coleman, the battle he had with, what was his name? The winger they had? Dickhoff, yeah, the battle that he was having with him. And
well, like, Paul Dickhoff, former Manchester City striker, of course. Little argumentative, moaning striker, and his lad's got a bit of his trait, and Seamus pulled him into line a couple of times.
So, yeah, I felt pretty comfortable through it all. It was just sort of waiting for the goal, really. And I think you're right. Because we don't necessarily have that sort of speed and we couldn't get him behind, it was just a lot of, you know, passing around, just waiting for the gap. Sort of a City style of play, just waiting for the gap, going back around. But yeah, it was a good game. It was pretty comfortable. And then once Ndiaye and Beto and all that came on, and I felt like it was gone then, and we were cruising off to win. He
brought, obviously, Tim Irabunum come on as well, didn't he? And he was taking the fight to them as well, getting forward. We did get the second goal. It took a while, but we did get it. And when we got it, it was another good move. And we've got some. I just want to talk about the things that maybe we didn't do in the first half, but what we've seen sort of against Brighton, and what we've seen in this with the better players, the movement. So we just have a look. If we got it, James Garner, we've already had the ball, and we've moved it across. James Garner has it and turns back. I've got Harrison Armstrong circled. Now the defender, but the lad marking him, has got his angles all wrong here because he can't see him. He's not even side on to see where he is. But we have circled Harrison Armstrong. We go 1-1. Now there's the run that he's going to make. You know, Everton have got, look, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the edge of the box. Coleman in the corner as well. James Garner's just going to thread it through that gap. As he does, Harrison Armstrong make the run. Now Beto circled in the middle, just got to get himself in there. This one's all about with Tieno Barry. Get yourself into these positions and make that run across. Make it easy for the lad in possession of the ball to give you a tapping. Beto does that really well. Harrison Armstrong, great awareness, looks up, sees Beto, rolls it across to him. Beto's got, I mean, that's what you want. Looking at the south stand, ball rolling across the 6-yard box, and you end up tapping it in. And that was it. It was game over. Yeah. Beto getting himself a goal. We'd been joking earlier on that. He always scores in the cup games, doesn't he? And he thrives on this, doesn't he? Obviously got his first ever Everton goal at this stage at Doncaster, didn't he? Yeah. Scored against Doncaster last year. Yeah. Scored against Mansfield now. And I'd said to you before, when Barry went off, all the people we were sat with, I was like, I'm guaranteeing you now, Beto gets a tap in here. Yeah. At the far, because it's just the kind of game that he does. Barry ran around and was like praying for one thing to drop, and Beto gets a tap in. But brilliant play from James Garner, brilliant from Harrison Armstrong, great awareness to just roll it across there, unselfish, and obviously kill the game off.
It was sort of what I took from it then, with you talking about it, was that, you know, the way Harrison Armstrong receives and he plays across and Beto's there, sort of similar to the Brighton one where Barry did make that run, but obviously it went to and die behind him. But it's just small little runs like that, isn't it, that Everton are benefiting from, playing out wide. So yeah, it's a great goal, and it was just a great move, and how quick everything all happened. And yeah, Beto obviously there to finish it, and you know, more stuff like that, and Barry will be flying. Because it was sort of what Calvert-Lewin thrived on, when at them type of situations.
Well, your best strikers, that's what you want. Yeah. It's about your movement, and then what you need is people with the ability to just give you those passes, and you get in the right position. If we start bringing that into our game, more difficult against Premier League teams, of course, because whereas Harrison Armstrong stood behind that defender's like that, looking at the play. Harrison Armstrong's here, Premier League defender would be like, he'd be looking at him with the arm would be out, and he'd be seeing, you're not getting past me, and then it would have to be an intelligent run. Would James Garner have all that time to turn? But the more you do it, the more it becomes quicker. You can do it against Premier League teams. This is what Man City have done for years. Being able to move the ball really quick, and if they've got runners, Arsenal used to be brilliant at it. We've seen Liverpool do this kind of thing. The top teams have that. What Everton have suffered with since Richarlison went and James went and Luka Dean went is having the intelligent players to get in behind, as well as having someone to thread it. We've had players with different skill sets, let's be honest, hard workers, or an individual like Damari Gray who just have a shot himself. We haven't really got people getting beyond to roll them across. The easiest goal in the world, that's what you want. You know, I bang on to...
Doesn't really have to do anything, just tapping in.
I bang on to Zach about this at kids level. It's like, get yourself, why are you standing outside the box for? To shoot from 25 yards, get yourself in the 6-yard box and tap it over the line. That's what you want. You want your centre forward 2 or 3 yards out, tapping it in, and doing it 15 times, and going, well, all your goals, mate, are from 6 yards. It doesn't matter. What does it say? 3, 2, 3. You know, Gary Lineker, the greatest striker I've probably ever seen play for Everton. Really, as finishing talent. Loads of his goals are inside the 6-yard box. Brilliant. That's what you want, don't you? And Everton haven't been able to get to those areas to put the ball across because we simply haven't had the quality. Now we're getting quality players, and we're talking about an 18-year-old here with the intelligence. I've seen James Garner with that passing ability that we don't see enough of from him. We've seen last season Leicester at home when he threads that one to Beto from inside our half. Where's that gone? Now is that encouragement from David Moyes gone? That's what you play. Where everything under Sean Dyche, or everything under when we were struggling a bit, or we didn't have good players, was safe. I'll just pass it to you 2 yards and get it back, and we go back. We still pass the ball back too much for my liking. Biggest thing that burns my head out is a throw in towards the end of their box, and we throw back to the halfway line. For someone to knock, I was like, what's that all about? Go the other way. But it was a really, really good goal and a lovely move. We almost got a third as well. We go and rob the ball again, Timmy Abunam, and he's running in on goal, and Beto's with him now. You can make a case for he did the wrong thing. One argument is he should have just got it out of his feet and leathered it, and he'd have probably scored because no one was near him. The other one is always play the right pass. So he's got Beto with him. But what he does is he plays a slow ball, which means Beto has to slow down and doesn't get a shot away quick enough and the tackle comes in. Whereas if he'd have played it ahead of Beto, maybe he would have had to run onto it, but he'd have been able to just have a shot with his left foot. But me personally, at 2-0 in injury time, I'd have took another touch in it myself.
Yeah,
if the keeper parries it, you've got to tap in.
Yeah. But that, in the future though, but now that we've got like James Garner playing deep, we've got Garner again, and there's other like defensive midfielders linked, would you be looking at playing Irbunam in that sort of more attacking role?
I think personally that's the only role he can play. I don't think I'm doing him a disservice here. I don't think Tim Irbunam's a defensive midfield player. I think he wants to pick the ball up and make things happen. He wants to run with the ball. He wants to be positive with the ball. Yeah. You remember when the Corey was in the studio and I was saying your best position for me is a bit further back, and he was like, yeah, it is as well. But that ain't getting up and down. I think Irbunam's good at that as well. I just don't think if you asked Tim Irbunam to sit, and sometimes we've asked him to do it, I just don't think it suits him. No. He can compete and put, although, I mean, first 2 games, we've only played 2 league games, he's got 2 yellow cards already, so if he carries on with that, he'll be suspended in a few weeks. But you don't want him doing that. His strengths are, he is quite strong, and he travels well with the ball, so yeah, I think he's more of an 8. Attacking. I don't know about a 10. I don't know whether 10s are real anymore. I feel as though
going past them, you need to have everything.
I think it's just everything's changed now. I don't think you get someone who just sits off the strike. I mean, even Decore, when we sort of play 4-5-1, 4-4-1-1, if you like, we're still having to do the midfield doggy work. If we play Jack Grealish in allegedly the 10, he's going to end up more like a 8. As running up and down, same as Illiman and Jai. He's going to end up, you can't, because we wouldn't be able to. Dewsbury Hall does it. We play Dewsbury Hall almost at, or we have done almost at the tip of the 3, where some people would say, oh yeah, he's in the number 10. He's not really the tip of the 3, but he's got to get back and defend, because a lot of midfields have 3 midfielders. So if you're sort of going missing up there and becoming almost like a 4-4-2, there's a big gap, do you know what I mean? So, but I think Irbunam, for me, definitely has got that ability to travel with the ball. It's his decision making, and it's quick decision making with him as well. He's the same. For me, he's got a lot of really good things.
His big sort of critique, wasn't it, was the sort of his concentration, which is, I guess you sort of need more for that like defensive midfielder sort of role, don't you? But he's an interesting player because it's sort of, I'd say he's probably higher up in the category, but same as Armstrong, where, you know, he's linked away with moves on loan and stuff, which I can't see happening. But like, does he make his sort of his case to always be in the team now if other players do come in and the likes Dewsbury and stuff? I find him just really interesting because he has moments where I do think he's really good, and I thought he's really good against Brighton. But yeah, he's an interesting player.
He's like a Kobe Manu. Manu's better. I'm just saying he's that type of player. There's a lot of criticism over Kobe Manu at the moment. Kobe Manu, whatever you say his name. Is that his concentration's not there. So when United have tried to use him as a 6, he lets people run off him because he wants to go that way with the ball, and he's not always maybe attuned to people making that. We just talked about the Mansfield sort of lad over on the right hand side not recognising Harrison Armstrong, the danger. We've seen it at first down with Tyler Onyango against United in Atlanta, letting Mason Mount just run off him, and he didn't have a clue where he was. He made up for it by playing a big part in the equaliser, of course, but it's that kind of thing. Manu is that. Manu is that. He sort of, he's good getting the ball, and he links a lot of things together, but it's running off him. And I think Tim Irbunam can be that sort, but has also got that trait as well, where lads, people are running off him and he's a yard slow, he's gone, and I've got to try to react, hence why sometimes he gets a yellow card because the lad's away, and then he's got to make a recovery type of tackle, but the lad's, you know what I mean? But he's a good, he's got some good attributes, whether or not he can bring that development on, so therefore you are looking going, well, Irbunam's got to play. You know, but again, just stepping off the bench, it's not ain't a bad lad to come off the bench, given the physicality of him and his technical ability. He's got to step it up, they all have. But yeah, the only time I was sort of edgy, and it wasn't much to be fair, but the only time you start going, could get a bit tricky this now, is when number 9 centre-back did go up. But the last few minutes when they started knocking diagonal balls and getting flicks on, and a couple of times they got in, and then Coleman just come and tidied it up, or Taki. But you're thinking, did they just get an unlikely goal from anywhere here?
Pens.
Goes to pens. You see what happened with Man United last night. Anything could have happened. Yeah. And it's not like we haven't seen that before at Everton, is it? But no, Everton managed the game really well. And I think sometimes you go to those games and you think, oh, we'll get a couple up in the first half and we'll end up 4 or 5-0. The amount of times that really happened, well, certainly for us, doesn't happen that often, does it? I mean, look at like Brighton. He went to Oxford and won 6-0.
They're not real then. They're AI generated off their players. The 19-year-old striker comes on for 20 minutes and scores a brace. From Greece, we've never heard of. How's that?
They bought 2 of them.
Yeah.
He bought 2 of them who will play bits and pieces this season, and then next season United will bid 131 million for them. But they're set up so well, aren't they? Brighton, that they haven't got any sort of expectation on them, really. They're already well into the data now. They do stuff that they go and purchase these lads all the time.
Yeah, you know, just always it's no risk really. But as you were saying with that before, Moyes said it, didn't he, in his press conference, that he's managed hundreds of these type of games and he's never been happy in 99% of them, but this was one where he's actually quite happy with it. So I think it's a good sign, isn't it?
I think it is a good sign. I think the more,
because these games are always the worst. It always seems like with Everton, I was saying this when we were predicting it, that whenever we face like a lower league team, they always end up scoring first and everyone gets on Everton's back and being like, these are League 2, but then we end up winning anyway. But it was nice to just have a nice comfortable win, and I feel like we managed everything well and we attacked well. So
last season we played Doncaster at Goodison, and the first half they were miles better than us. We just couldn't get into it. And then we broke the deadlock and we won 3-0 in the end, and it was easy in the end. But that first half, it's always uncomfortable, isn't it? And it is because you make change. I know other teams make changes as well, but it is because you make changes and those players haven't gelled. But we have been there before. We've had those uncomfortable Carabao Cup games, haven't we? And the atmosphere is always a bit weird.
Just the start of the season, we never do well in August.
And anyway. there's different fans there, but it's the singing isn't always there, and so listen, there was a lot of variables, but Everton managed it really well. And the more players we get, like Jack Grealish's and your Tyler Dibblings and then Jai, who were all comfortable wanting the ball and taking it, you do manage the risk right down, because you're not giving the ball away as much, and Everton were sort of dominant. But we won a game 2-0 and we're in the next round. That's really all that matters. I wanted to have a look at Harrison Armstrong's numbers from last night, because I gave him man of the match. I thought he was outstanding. We've got him here. He had 1 shot, he had 2 assists, passing accuracy 93%. He had 6 ball recoveries and won 54% of his duels. He should have really had 3 assists and a goal. Really, that's what he should have had, and I think he'd probably tell you. I mean, he can't do much more than give it to Jai, and Jai's got to really score. So we can't really say anything about the assist. He'd done his bit. It's up to Jai, but I think if you'd asked him, he'd feel like he should have scored when he broke through, because he made a great run. First touch wasn't bad either. Got it out of his feet. He really should have just put his foot through it. But I thought he was excellent.
Sort of similar to the Beto chance, wasn't it, that he had? It's just
straight, like a slow shot at the keeper. But you're right about him in terms of what does the manager do. I think he's give the manager a decision to make, which is good. So you can do as a young player. I get a lot of people going, keep him, and for sort of greedy sake, you can keep him. But if we're talking about, this is a young lad who's got an opportunity to be an Everton midfield player and be for a few years and be someone that we love, because he's got the physical attributes, he's intelligent enough, he can, his passing ability and everything. He's got to grow. Absolutely. He's got to grow into that, and that probably realistically only happens from playing games. You went through all the midfield before. When you start throwing people like Dwight McNeil in who can play centre midfield, Jack Grealish and Jai or Dibbling who can all play off the striker, when you're putting Alcaraz and Iraboon and James Garner, the manager wants another midfield player. all of a sudden you're looking and going, where does Harrison Armstrong play in all of this, featuring all this? It's not ability, because I don't think he's ever looked out of place.
No.
He's also never put a performance in where you go, he's got to play all the time. Now, last night was close, but it was League One opposition. Do you know what I mean? So for him and his development now, maybe it is better for him to go and get a lot of games under his belt.
Yeah.
Play every week, like he did from January to May. But if Everton are going to do that, and the manager seemed non-committal last night, he was sure. I think the manager is sure. I think he knows what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I would like Everton to have a break clause in it, a recall clause for January, just in case. And obviously we lose a visit to the AFCON, don't we, in July.
Yeah.
So I'd like that, and let him go and play some football and develop, because we want to be the beneficiaries of that. We want him to be next year in our team all the time, where we're going the way we do with Branthwaite. Armstrong's got to play. Yeah,
it's interesting, because you sort of look at, I don't know, people who are young and came through whatever, and you look like Anthony Gordon and a Branthwaite, and it's like, before they went out on their loans, they were sort of in and out of the Everton team. They both had little stints, and then they went out on loan, came back, and it was like they were a different player, and then they really kicked on. And obviously Anthony Gordon went on to go for 50 million, and Jared Branthwaite probably £100 million defender now. And it's like, with Armstrong, as you said, you know, he's came in and he's never looked out of place, but he's never been like ridiculous the way he has to be in every week. But you look at sort of Everton's team now, and you look at like Schmidt and stuff, and it's like, he needs to, Schmidt, what he's lacking now, I think, is like his sort of his experience, and I don't want Harrison Armstrong to fall into a similar trap, where he's just on the bench all season and he's just wasted a year of his development when he could be out in, I don't know, the Championship or abroad, learning his football week in, week out, and comes back and really goes for it. So it is interesting what they do, and I think if it was up to me, I probably would loan him out, but it depends what team you can loan him out to. If it's like an upper Championship, or, you know, see if Marcel Brands wants another one of our young English players, you know, Branthwaite done well with them, and then give him a proper go. But obviously with that sort of recall clause, I think that works perfect for everyone, really. And I just don't want him to just be sat on the bench. No, I don't want him wasted getting 4 minutes here. And people can say, yeah, but he's sort of training with Grealish every day, and he's training with that, but you want him to play. He's been doing that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I want him to play games. If David Moyes is like, nah, he has played his way into my thinking, he's going to be in something, great. Yeah. No issue with it whatsoever. But I want him to develop and get better. Yeah. Because I want us all to think he has to play. Absolutely. Right now, a lot of people like him, but I don't think anyone's going, he has to play. Yeah. No one's going to look at Everton's team on Saturday, and if he's on the bench, go, why is he on the bench? Yeah. No one's going to. No one's saying like he should be over Dewsbury or whatever. No. But really good prospect. The other player I thought had a really good game last night was Carlos Alcaraz, and made up for him last night. He had 2 shots last night, both on target, scored 1 goal, passing accuracy of 83%, completed 100% of his dribbles, which was 3 out of 3, and completed 100% of his tackles, which was 2 out of 2. There was some other positive stats from Alcaraz as well last night, a few long ball, accurate passing, and ball recoveries and things like that. So he was very, very good last night, and reminding everyone. Again, this is a young player, 22. You know, if he'd come through the academy, everyone would be like, oh, he's great, isn't he? Yeah. Because we've bought him. You know, he's a lad who's been around us. We've played for Juventus, Flamengo, Southampton. Yeah. You know, so he's here. He's had to be a little bit patient, but he come in last night and he did really well. Yeah, I think, you know, I spoke about it at the start. In like pre-season, some of the early games, he was forced out wide, really onto the right, and it's not really his position. And it's not like he's got like the patience to really like be able to play well out there. So I think when he played there, he was great, and had some really nice touches, some really nice moments. And, you know, as you said, he's 22, and I felt like people, you're right, you and Pedro spoke about it, people sort of, I don't know, gave up on him, but he is also a new signing. Yeah. And like, it doesn't, because he was here on loan, obviously it doesn't really register, but like, he's still a good player, and he's got loads of experience at such a young age that I think he's a good signing. But not a good signing, sorry. I think he's made himself like a good argument to be in the team more and get more chances, and he's sort of someone that Harrison Armstrong will be competing with for positions as well, because he sort of plays that sort of 10 and 8. Is that his best position, breaking
on with the striker.
Yeah, because I think he has got a good shot on him.
Yeah.
It's like, as proven by the goal. You know, and then you look at like Crystal Palace, look at the header at Newcastle and stuff, and he's got quite a good range of different ways of scoring. So yeah, I think that's his ideal position. I think if you play him out wide, I think it's a bit of a waste of time.
We just go so narrow. Out wide he comes, right, because he wants to be involved in the game.
Yeah, because you look at like a Grealish and hopefully what Dibben's like, and I know people say Grealish can't like playing on the inside, but Grealish also works it out well, and he goes round and gets like the line and crosses it in, but Alcaraz doesn't really have that.
No.
You have to think where he wants to be involved with it more.
Yeah. He did. I thought he was excellent last night. Okay, let's have a look at the overall stats from the game last night. There you go, Everton 2, Mansfield 0. 14 shots to Everton 3 for Mansfield. The Toffees had 6 on target. Mansfield didn't have any on target last night. The XG 2.19 for Everton, 0.32 for Mansfield. 66% possession to Everton. You don't hear that very often. But maybe we will a bit more because we're getting more ball players. So, yeah, we've won the game, and that was the most important thing, wasn't it? Back-to-back wins there, and try to get a little bit of momentum going. Because obviously we play Wolves away at the weekend, which is a tough game, but it's also a winnable game for Everton. And then we go into the international break, of course, and you know, at least a point at the weekend would mean an okay recovery from Leeds. But if we were to win, I think we'd all admit we've had a good start. If we'd have won 2 league games and we're in the next round of the cup, from the opening set of fixtures at that, I don't think we can complain at that.
Yeah, I think the Leeds one probably just came too soon for everything, and all the players we had available and everything. So we really improved the Brighton game. We got another win here, and I don't see why we couldn't go to Wolves and get another win. You know, Wolves on in the best form here, so why not?
Yeah, there's a great chance, and let's hope we can do it. Right, we're going to carry on now on Toffee TV Premier. I'm going to be answering your questions, or reading out your points, rather, from the game last night. If you want to become a Toffee TV Premier, remember the link's in the description. QR code will be on the screen now. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you later.